Hi, this is YWIB Seattle's Spring into STEM event for 2021. Staying centered in STEAM, ways to nourish self-love. I'm Mackenzie Coston, the YWIB Seattle Vice Chair, and we're here with...
Oh, I'm Lauren. I am the YWIB Seattle Chair.
And I'm Aidan. I'm the YWIB Communications Chair.
And we're chatting with our guest, Maggie Fuqua, today. I'll let her introduce herself and take it from there.
Hello, I'm Maggie Fuqua, and I am a cell biologist that works in Seattle. I got my master's and bachelor's degrees up at Western Washington University in Bellingham, Washington. And I've been working for the past 6 years at the Allen Institute, one of those years being at the Allen Institute for Brain Science, and the last 5 and a little bit of years at the Allen Institute for Cell Science. So, huge nerd, very proud, and really honored to be here. So.
Well, thank you for joining us. We definitely loved you at our past event at the Allen Institute. You were a wonderful speaker, so it was a no-brainer to ask you to join us for this one. So,
thank you.
All right. Now that we have Maggie's background, we'll go into a little bit about self-love, self-care. So Maggie, what does self-love mean to you?
So self-love to me is something that's not easy. So that's, I mean, whenever you hear people talk about love, I don't know, even like in the relationship sense, like everybody's like, it's hard work, it's a lot of work, and it is. I mean, but it's like especially hard work when it comes to loving myself, and or if I don't know, I feel like I'm safe in overgeneralizing by saying like I think it's hard for people to consider themselves. But to me, self-love is caring for yourself as though you would care for or love someone else, like a friend or you know, a family member. You know, it's easy to love other people, but like I'm usually the last person on my list that I think of to show any of that. So, but yeah, self-love is looking at me and saying, yeah, I love you, man. This is what you need. This is what I'm going to give you.
Have you always been at the point where you are now, or has your journey with self-love evolved and your view of self-love transformed over the years?
It has definitely transformed. Like, I think, especially when I started, like as a professional in the sciences, I had no concept of self-love, self-care. I had one role model in college, and she is still actually a professor at Western, who had a family, and I just and you know, she published in Nature several times. She was just like a total rock star in like cell molecular plant biology. And I also used to hate plants, like learning about them anyway. Love plants, but like didn't want to learn how they worked. But like she totally like just changed my world. But yeah, she goes home, like she has a good family life, she has a good work-life balance, and I'm like, how do you do it? And unfortunately for me, her answer was, you know, I've honestly just kind of been like that. I've been good at planning, and I'm just like, great. And so I just like have to be a super stud muffin at planning my life in order to be like you. But you know, I've just been kind of finding new role models that, you know, I'm like, that person is doing it, that person is caring for themselves, you know, and going home at a decent hour. You know, I especially look up to bosses in my life that, you know, don't stay till 9 p.m. in the lab every night. And so, yeah, it's been a work in progress. I am still, I'm so far from perfect with this. It's not even funny. But, you know, I've learned that if I don't make time for myself, like nobody else is going to either. And so it kind of has to start with me. And I have to like learn how to set my own boundaries and also like work within those boundaries and set reasonable expectations for myself. And, you know, I practice planning now. And that's something I only started really doing in the last like 3 or 4 years. And it sounds weird. You have to practice planning. I'm a terrible planner, always have been. But it helps. It really helps. And like I'm a classic underestimator of how long things actually take me. And you know, I love efficiency. And so, you know, getting up in the morning, I'm like, it's gonna take me 13 minutes to get ready. So I have to leave 13 minutes. I can wake up 15 minutes before. Totally fine. You know, forgetting the traffic is a thing, or that like, you know, the water is going to take 3 extra minutes to heat up in the morning, or I don't know, like this, that, or the other thing. Like I just never factor in reality somehow. Anyway, I've probably answered that one a little bit long, but
it's funny too, because Maggie and I know each other outside of YWIB in this, and I've always perceived you as super organized, and like notes in your lab notebook. So it goes to show, you know, maybe
that makes me feel so good, but also so sad, because if you only knew what this desk and my brain and my notebooks look like right now.
But maybe you're harder on yourself. But
you know, it goes in waves, but that makes me feel really good, and I'm trying. Like what you perceive is me trying really hard to be better. So
well, I noticed.
Well, you're definitely already great as is.
Thanks,
and I do
guys.
have to say that we are the biggest critics on ourselves, and often even more so others who are viewing us see us in a much brighter light than we are seeing ourselves. At least that's from my experience with that and what I've observed. But yeah, your light's shining pretty bright. So I definitely,
you're the coolest.
I just definitely think that you're a really great example, even just from the little bit we've already talked. Without a doubt, you're already a great example of somebody who's definitely an uplifter and a bright light in this world. So
that's so kind. Thank you.
So with that, what specific hobbies or things do you do when you're stressed out? How do you cool your jets a little bit when you're stressed with work or just life in general?
I love sitting outside and just spacing out. I also love playing my mandolin, but like that requires, you know, I like get rusty when I don't, and if there's like a big gap in time when, you know, I haven't taken care of myself, like my mandolin gets kind of dusty as well. And so I don't know, I mean, I don't like to be bad at things. I mean, who does? But like it's like there's a bigger hurdle to get to that. So like, you know, I've set my sights really low with my self-care hobbies. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna sit and make myself relax, or like I'll take a bath. I have a bathtub now. That's something I didn't have for like 5 years. Works wonders. Showers are great too. And I don't know, I like to play with my cat. I like to water my plants. I've been gardening lately. But yeah, probably the mandolin I think does the best for me. It's just yeah, I'm like trying to learn something else and like it actually gets to sound good. Like my brain finally has to like let go of whatever I've been actively thinking about at work. And that's like the key thing is like whatever it is that I do, going for a run, love going for runs too. I don't know, like whatever it is, like it's just like it's most effective if it can make me stop thinking about all the other things that I'm doing in my life, like I just need to tune it out. So
that's a perfect answer.
A lot of it.
How long do you usually play your mandolin for when you decide to pick it up?
When I do, I mean, it's best if I can just do it for like hours. But I think even 10 minutes would work. Like even 10 minutes would work. And it's the cruel irony of it is that like I think if I ever just make space for myself, starting with like a baby step of 10 minutes, I think I would probably, have a better chance of doing it for 20 minutes the next night. But I don't know. I was thinking about this earlier actually. Mostly because I knew I was going to be talking with you guys, but like I was like, I get overwhelmed when I've got like too many things. Like if I've got too many things on my list, I get overwhelmed. But I'm like, if I had to split my day into 3 pieces, what would it logically split into? And I'm like, well, I got to go to work. Sad that that's the first thing that just came out of my mouth. I got to sleep. And so I'm like, okay, 8 hours, 8 hours. Work is sometimes a little bit more than 8 hours. And then what's the rest? I'm like, the rest, should be for me, for my family, for my pets, for, maybe talking to a friend or, that should be for me. But that's as simple as I think I could make it. I have to make a living, I have to sleep, and then I have to like, live. So that leaves like 8, 8, and 8. And like it's weird how frequently like my sleep suffers, like my exercise and things that I would do for myself suffers at the expense of work. And it's like, why? And it's not like anybody at work wants that to happen to me. And it's just, but yeah, anyway, I think I got on a tangent. There wasn't even really a question. There wasn't. But yeah, I don't know. How long my mandolin? I don't think I can play a mandolin for 8 hours, but like, I don't know, like an hour? Come on. Like I can play like a few songs. That would be good. And I gotta eat. I don't know. Sorry, there's like a lot of things. Like me breaks down into like, I gotta have food. I gotta, go to the bathroom. You guys should ask me another question, or I'm just gonna what?
You are so funny, and I love your honesty. And when you go off on tangents, I don't even view it as you going off on a tangent. I just view it as you just providing more detail and context to your story and being real. And I think that's the most valuable thing that any listener can. Most valuable thing any listener can receive is viewing someone who's just being real and honest about where they are and their perspectives and how things are playing out. So yeah, so I definitely was a fan of that tangent you just went on, for sure.
Well, thanks. I don't know if I expected to feel as good as you guys are making me feel tonight, so that's really cool. Thanks.
So particularly, I mean, you mentioned like work can be, more than 8 hours a day, which then kind of feeds into the time for you. What do you think it is about like the sciences, STEAM fields that can be kind of extra tricky when trying to make time for yourself and self-love and self-care?
Mm-hmm. So I've thought about this a lot too, because it is totally, it seems to be just rampant in the science field, especially. I mean, starting in college, my roommates that were not science majors, like, didn't understand why I was in the library like 14 hours a day on the weekends, and why I would come home so late from school, because I had to squeeze in getting my lab work done on top of it. I was fortunate enough to be a part of a lab, but like it was things that you had to do extra in order to progress to this next stage. And so I look back now and I'm like, how on earth did I take like 3 science classes at once, study, do moderately well, and I emphasize moderately. It was a mistake to take 3 at once, let me just tell you, because all those life things, still had to happen. Not really very possible. So moderately, like, got through that, but and then, and it's just like it's this cycle that repeats, and you see your advisors doing it, and you have to write grants in order to continue doing research, and like the whole framework of academia like kind of just sets you up for your work is going to be probably 80% of your waking life, and it's going to cut into your sleeping life, because you're not going to be able to do that as much if you're going to succeed. And that's hard, but you love it so much because science is amazing. Like, I don't have to tell anybody probably here or that's going to be listening to this, like, science is really easy to just lose yourself in. Like, there are endless things to learn that we've already discovered, let alone endless things that we will and can discover, so long as we put our minds to it and just work our little selves into the ground, but I don't think it has to be that way. Like, I always kind of had this like grander vision of like, how could we even fix this? Like, I don't know. It's built in that you have to kind of like annihilate yourself in order to succeed. So starting in college, working like, 10 hours a day studying, going to classes, and then, a couple of extra hours in the lab plus weekends, because you got to do the weekend stuff in order to make your PI happy and in order to get your projects done, in order to present at conferences. I'm going on and on right now, but like, then comes the professional world, and then you're like caught in the middle of like, okay, do I try to pursue grad school? Which I did that too, and that's its own monster, then it's like basically like undergraduate, like cubed kind of. And so and you're not allowed to have like a job, so it's like you're like, I was poor as an undergraduate, but I have to be poor now in order to focus and get this degree. So yeah, but so worth it. Love getting my master's. I only got a master's when I'm saying this. Like, I can't even imagine like PhD stuff. You guys are, whoop, yeah. Yeah, it like just continues, and you get to a job like we have now, like we're fortunate enough to have, and they're like, we support a work-life balance. And I'm like, is this a trick? Really? Like, if I do that, like, am I gonna lose my job secretly? Or like, by the way, they really mean it at our job, which is like the best thing in the world. But it's hard to like break free of that like mental trap you get yourself in, where like, if I do take time for myself, now I'm slacking. Or if I do take time for myself, now I'm not doing as good a job as the people that aren't. And I don't know, it's like this weird catch-22. And I feel like I just took like 45 minutes to answer that. So I'm gonna like back off. Okay, Lauren, you're giving me a head shake. So I'm like, okay.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Can you guys tell I'm a nervous person a little bit? I get anxious when I talk to people.
You seem fine to me. Definitely. Very natural.
Okay.
No, I think that summed it up well. I mean, yeah, the culture of STEAM is so like work if you want to succeed. And I think it's helpful to remember to like you can't pour from an empty cup motto. So like when I'm feeling like with work, oh gosh, like people are still working until 9 at night, but should I be answering these messages? Like, it's more important that I'm taking time for myself so that the next day I can focus better.
And be nice to your team and, be your Mackenzie self.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I connected on so many levels with what you just said. Like,
really?
It's pretty across the board. You just, there's that guilt that you feel and the pressure and all of that just tied in so much with like STEAM jobs, I feel. And you just have this idea that you need to be working as hard or harder than everyone else, but everybody else is working really, really hard. And so it's just, it's hard. It's almost like competitive, but not, not intentionally.
It definitely, based on what you're saying, it sounded like you want to break the cycle.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I was getting from what you're saying. And that the cycle can be broken. It's just the how aspect of it. And I think it all starts from within, and prioritizing yourself, because the work's going to be there. It's always there. Always there.
Yeah.
So prioritizing yourself, and then plus, depending on, you can't bring your best self to work if you're not bringing your best self home or with you now in every moment. Of course, we're all still going to be great, even when we're grouchy or whatever the case may be, but we're just even better when we take the time to prioritize what's best for us and what feels good, without the care of what others will think. So yeah, I think the cycle is going to be broken one of these days.
Totally.
If it hasn't already. So
since I'm a scientist, sorry, what you just said like made me think of this, like data means a lot to me. And so like I've actually, I don't know, it was like 2 days that I did this experiment with myself. I think I trailed off, but like I tried, taking a weekend and not thinking about work at all. And this is a while ago, but I really planned my week out. And I realized that if I worked 8 hours a day, but like made decisions throughout that day to like not annihilate myself, like only schedule like 2 things on my to-do list instead of 10. Like I actually got more done that week than I was doing on weeks where I was there till like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And I was like leaving on time, and I was so proud of myself. I don't know what happened to it, but I want to bring it back.
I have been working on that. That's crazy that you said that, because I get overwhelmed definitely with, I think I can accomplish so many things in this amount of time. Definitely doesn't happen. But when I give myself one thing just to focus on, and just focus on that, and just say the rest, I'm not even going to worry about you. If I'm meant to do work on that, I'll work on that. But just focusing on that one thing and committing myself to doing that one thing, it's the same thing that you said. I get way more done than it's like a miracle occurs, and it's incredible. And I think the only thing that really occurs is just our way of approaching it, and that we feel better about what's before us, rather than thinking we have to accomplish everything right now, which is just unrealistic. But yet a lot of us have that perspective or belief kind of nudged in a little bit, so we just gotta knock it out. So yeah, definitely. And I've been doing exactly what you said, so it definitely worked.
Way to go, man.
Yeah. So really cool that you said that, because yeah, it for real works. Like definitely. Yeah.
You're living the dream.
It definitely, it's not every day. I'm still not consistent, but it's the days I do it, it's incredible. So yeah, very cool.
Mm-hmm. And Maggie, what you were saying about like trying not to think about work on the weekends. Sometimes, I have to consciously, like a work thought will bubble up. I have to consciously think, that's a work thought. This is the weekend.
It's so hard.
Push it off. But that kind of like self-awareness and like actually saying to yourself, okay, look, you're thinking about it, stop. That can also be pretty helpful too, I've found. But it's hard.
Or singing to yourself, like making up a song. I do that. I do that. I've been doing that so often. I usually used to just do it in my head because my singing voice is not the best. But I've come to the point where I really just don't care anymore, and so I just sing out loud and just make up a song. Like I say jolly, and I just say jolly like over and over in different tones and whatever. And I have to say that works to distract me from something that doesn't feel good that pops up in my mind. So just if you guys try it, please let me know, because it's actually really fun and it's funny.
Maggie's thinking about work again. We need to think about sandwiches instead.
See, you already got it, and you just got yourself to laugh too. You're like a master at it already.
You like the song thing. I'm gonna do that next time though.
All right. What other questions do we got, you guys?
So I'm curious if there's like two parts to this, if there's ever been any really good advice you've been given about, staying centered and self-love, or if there's something you wish you knew like early on in your career or with school. Kind of touched on, things you've learned, but just curious if there's something specific.
First part was advice I've gotten that was good. Okay.
Or if you haven't got any stellar advice, something you really wish like someone would have told you.
Your younger self. What would you tell your younger self?
What would I tell my younger self is, if you feel like you're starting to be mean to people you like for no reason, and if you feel like you're finding it a little hard to concentrate, like maybe take a step back and think about how you're spending your time. Like just write it down hour by hour, like just, it's always like really hard for me to stop when I'm going so fast. And like, so just like giving myself permission, like in that moment, give yourself permission to stop. Like, like just taking 30 seconds to write it down. Like I've like done these worksheets in the past, like where it's like, okay, what am I thinking about? What do I need to not think about? Anyway, it's like a side, that's a different story. But like, I won't even like take that time, that like 1 minute to like write those things down to make myself feel better, because I can't stop the 100,000 things I'm doing right now to make that 1 minute of time to maybe clear my mind. It's really weird. But I mean, like, if you allow yourself to stop, like kind of regroup on paper, or however you like to schedule your time, like thinking like, okay, I've been spending 3 hours on this, and then right now, if I'm going at this pace, like this is going to be my next 3 days. Like, and that's, it gives you like kind of like a chance to take a bird's eye view at your little pie chart of life. And I mean, yeah, just stop. I know that that's really vague, but like, pay attention to how you're being,
In the moments that you did stop, were the moments after better?
I'm actually doing it right now.
Oh.
Were they better? Yeah, they were. In fact, like I can think of an example right now, like where my newest manager, like he's very, very well acquainted with like our work life right now, and he knows I have a tendency to go total tank, and I was like, so let's call him boss. I'll just be like, I'm planning on doing this and this and this and this and this and this and this for the rest of the week. And he's like, no, just do one of those. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, you need to do that before you can do all those other things. Because what if that one thing like doesn't work out the way you wanted to or expected to? And he's like, we need to think about that, the results of that first too. And I'm like, him purposely slowing me down, like kind of like allowed me to let myself slow down and be like, okay, I like don't have to do this. In fact, he's telling me not to do this. And yeah, like that felt so good. And I felt like I could finally focus on that one thing. And it was just so cool. Like, I don't know. It's just, I was really thankful.
And it just feels so good to feel good.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Like, why don't we feel good more of the time? It just feels so good to feel good.
Yeah. I just need to like demote the current boss that's like in my brain and like hire someone like that. I want them here like all the time.
Well, you know, neuroplasticity, so it's possible.
Yeah, I can just train the one that's in there, like retrain that guy up there.
Or just form a whole new pathway.
Okay. Let's talk.
Anybody else? Don't worry, all these gaps I'm gonna crop out, so it'll flow.
Did I answer all your questions?
Actually, I don't even know. I haven't even been looking at the questions. So
yeah, we've mostly covered them all.
Okay, cool.
I had one about like a really specific instant in your life where you struggled with self-care, but
I mean, there have been multiple periods, and I'm not like proud to admit that, but it's just true. I'm thankful that every time I've had the support and encouragement and passion for what I do to come back from those times. And the word that I will apply to those times is burnout. Like I have burned out several times. And unfortunately, it's like this curse when you love something so much, you know, you don't want to stop. And like you want to continue being better so that you can give more of yourself, you know, continually to this like project that you like, you know, have these grand visions for or whatever. So yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's hard to come back from burnout, by the way, and a lot of people don't. And you know, like I've struggled probably since I was like 14, like with periodic depression, and like, you know, it's like sort of a consistent part of my life, and you know, burning out and losing sleep, and that doesn't help battle it, you know. So yeah, I don't know, it doesn't feel like too much until it's way too much for me. I know it might be different for everybody else, but that's a problem for me, because then it's hard for me to notice when I'm getting too close. That's why I need to like focus so much on really practicing And, like you just said, Lauren, like, I got to start really trying to train a new pathway in my brain because it's important for my mental health. And I've been fortunate. Like I have to reiterate, I've been fortunate to have the support system in my life that has gotten me through those times, yeah. So be kind to your support systems. Like they, especially in science, like you'll probably have to call on them. And I hope that, if there's a time that like you do, that you do. So I don't know. Yeah.
And also
always stems from too much work and too much like ignoring me. And that happens in life too. Like, I don't know. I like to make other people happy. It's just like, sure, you got a birthday, and you got a birthday, and you got a birthday, and I got to go to all those parties. And I'm really tired, but it doesn't matter. So, yeah, I don't know.
And not only being kind to your support system, but, just your coworkers and everyone around you, because it can make a huge difference, even though stressful times, but it's a big difference.
Yeah, I try to, so like sometimes I've had to try and motivate myself in some way other than you got to be nice to yourself, Maggie. And I'm like, I don't care about me. Like, I can take this. Like, I don't need, like I'll take this on because, I'm tough and yada, yada. But like, I've had to convince myself, no, you have an obligation to your teammates to take care of yourself, because if you don't, soon you're going to be the mean guy, and you're going to be the guy that gets really cheesed off when there's like an empty pipette tip box on the it doesn't matter, like these stupid things, like it'll be something totally doofy and you'll just lose it at your sweet unsuspecting coworker and it totally doesn't deserve it. And it's not professional, Maggie. Like, I just don't want to do that. And it's an obligation that I have to the people I care about. And your coworkers don't have to forgive you for being a butt nugget. So just be nice. So,
And you're adding yourself to that list too, right? Of people to be nice to.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes.
No, but that's definitely, it's a good point. Because I think the easiest, it's so easy to show love and kindness to others. Like that is just such a joy. And so but then at some point you got to recognize, or at least for me, I have to check in and be like, wait, especially if I'm not being, like if I start getting a little grouchy, I always have to just remove myself, because I always end up, if I am mean or I am grouchy, I end up feeling really bad later. And so trying to catch it early, as soon as I feel like the tightness, like specifically in my throat, I feel tight in my throat when I can tell I'm starting to get grouchy or just in a bad mood. And so always separating myself from others to just woo-saw and say, it's all good, or just take a nap, or just breathe some deep breaths or meditate or whatever before going back out and interacting. Because being nice is like one of the greatest joys. When you're actually genuinely nice too, it feels so good. And when you see another person feel good, it feels just even better. So
Totally.
Yeah, but it just feels so good to feel good. So yeah, definitely. Well, is there anything else that you feel led to share or say, or does anybody else have any last questions before we wrap up? Maggie.
Why are you guys so awesome? Oh my gosh. I don't know. Can I just say though, I was so relieved to hear each of you tell me that you struggle with this and with these sorts of things too. sometimes I feel like I'm the only one who has a problem with this, but I mean, I know that's totally not true, but Mackenzie, I totally look up to you. I feel like you're such a rock star. I'm like, oh my gosh, this girl's like doing crazy internships in her undergrad. Like, that is not me. And I don't know, I feel like you're very put together. And you guys, I don't know you as well, so pardon me for highlighting Mackenzie, but like it really, I feel like there's a chance that I can get better, and I think that it's really great that you guys are putting this together for people. I can't stress how important it is and what an important thing it is to strive to be better at. And that's all I can offer right now, is just that you got to be better. We all got to be better, and I got to be better. I'm definitely not perfect, but hopefully
we're all perfectly imperfect yet perfect.
Ooh,
because I view self-love and self-care like a garden, because you still have to tend to your garden even after there's full bloom. Like, it goes through cycles, and so tending to it and going out there and giving it some nutrients and some fresh soil or some water or having some sunshine shine down, all those things are needed. And so without any of that, without any attention to your garden, it's not going to flourish and thrive as well as it's meant to. And so that's how I view it, is that no matter where we are on our journey of self-love or self-care, whether it's super easy or really hard or whatever the case may be, no matter where you are, you have to maintain it. You have to set the intention to maintain it. And no one can make that decision for you. It has to be your own decision. But we're all in it together, even when it seems like we're not, since people don't really talk about it that much. So yeah, we all go through our phases. There's a song I like that's called Moon or something. Anyway, one of the lines is just like, we all go through, I'm butchering this like big time. but it's
Take two.
It's basically just like the moon, we all go through phases, or you go through phases, something like that. Basically, we all go through phases, and it's a much natural thing. So you just got to flow with it and be nice to yourself and know that it's okay, because that's life. So yeah. Well, thank you. Really appreciate it. Any last words, you guys?
Thank you. Thank you for doing this and for inviting me. This is really special. I really feel very honored that I got to talk with you three.